So, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about my favorite authors of 2024. And so, yeah, basically, I'll just get into the video and start talking about my favorite authors. So, this is in no like particular order, they're all just like my favorites across the board in different genres. And I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some of your favorites too. But number one on the list that I'm going to just start off with is June So I have read two of her books this year and I absolutely loved both of them. So one of them is called A Crane Among Wolves, and then the other one is called um, The Red Palace, I believe, or something like that. The Red Palace, something. I don't know. I'll put them off to the side. But yes, I've loved both of her books and I just adore her writing. And I just feel like she's so special and she's really just like a gem, an undiscovered gem. So, kind of consider this video me kind of just like, author appreciation for other authors who I feel like don't get their flowers. But yeah, so June literally, I loved both of her books so much. I love the way she writes. I like her genre. Like, she was the first author that I've ever read that wrote historical fantasy. I've never read anything like historical fantasy slash historical fiction. Um, and it was great. I loved both of the books. So for some context, so she is a Korean American, I believe, and so both of her books are kind of like she describes them as being like historical K dramas. And so if you know anything about historical K dramas, you know something about this book because the way she tells her stories or like the structure is very similar to that of like what you would see in a typical historical K drama. And I love those. I love those. I eat those up. And so having that like in a book format is just great. And I really think she just is a well-rounded author. I think she does um, story structure well. I think she does characters well. I think she does romance very well while also still maintaining like the mystery part of the story. Like, she's just really good at balancing both of those. And I don't see a lot of people talking about her work enough. And so, yeah, I'm going to give her my number one position. I'm not like rating, but like I just want to talk about her first because I'm just so excited. And she has another book coming out this year. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I will put it off to the side. But I even have that already on my TBR. I think it's coming out in 2025. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that book and just reading just more works from her. And so moving on to our second one, I feel like everyone talks about him. And finally this year, now that I've gotten back into reading, I decided to go see what the fuss was about. And that author is Brandon Sanderson. So he is a fantasy buff. So he mostly works in the fantasy genre. So he is known for many different series. I'll just name a couple. Um, Mistborn, The Way of Kings. He's even done, I think he's also done, like, he finished the Wheel of Time series that was written by another author. Um, he's also done hold on, let me look at my bookshelf. So he's also done the Skyward series, and I feel like, I mean, there's just so many others. And then he also just has his own like standalones as well that I've read as well. And I just look forward to reading like more of his books in the years to come and just more books that he's going to be writing as well. So yeah, I'm a real big fan of him. Particularly because I like the types of stories that he tells. Like, the types of his stories, the type of stories that he tells are just really unique. Like, I just, for example, there's this the most recent book that I read by him is called Yumi and the Painter. And so at first, going into this book, I thought it was going to be a little bit more action packed, but it was actually kind of a romance. And I will say that it's not your typical romance. It's obviously like not Allie Hazelwood romance. It's more of like a slow friend lover type of romance. It's very subtle, like very subtle. And at first I was kind of like not liking it, but then like it just grew on me. Like the relation, like the characters, the world just grew on me. And I just love the way he builds his worlds. I like how just creative it is. Like he doesn't really borrow from like other pre-existing like fantasies or like myths that exist a lot. He kind of literally creates from scratch. He's just very original. Like the way the magic works in Mistborn is very original. The way like just a lot of the worlds that he makes are just from scratch, and I really appreciate like that ingenuity of his. And it just makes for like a really exciting story to read because like things are less predictable and you have like you don't know what you're going into. And so that's why I really like Brandon Sanderson. Also, his writing is also really simple. Like I know for some people like they're not a fan of his style of writing, but I actually like his style of writing. It's not too slow, it's not too fast for me. It's kind of just right. And I mean, I will say it is he does explain a lot, but I mean, explaining never hurt anybody. Like explaining never hurt anybody, and it's just really simplistic. His prose are really simple. They're not like super flowery or anything like that. I really don't like flowery prose. But yeah, I love his simplistic style of writing and just like his focus to telling you the story first as the priority. And yeah, so yeah, I have a couple of more like tons of books that are on my TBR that are written by him, and I look so forward to getting into those. Okay, so moving on to our next author, which is number 3. It's going to be Tracy Deonn. Okay, and so I've only read one book by this author. How did she make your list? Well, I'll tell you what. She wrote the book, the best book that I've read in 2024. So I know I'm like super late to the legend born, but I don't care. Like I read that book this year and it was literally one of the best books that I've read all year. Tracy Deonn, the reason why the reason why I love Legendborn as much as I did is just it was just so simply perfect. Like it was simply perfectly well done with like it was okay. It was simple perfection done at a really high caliber. Like that literally high caliber, Excalibur. Okay, it was done so well. And so I love the characters that she made. I love the world that she created. I love the magic system that she created. I loved her storytelling. I loved the story structure. I just loved every part of the book. Like a true 5 star. True 5 star. I love her prose, very simplistic, and then also, she does a really good job with dialogue. It just feels so natural, and her character arcs are good. Now, I have not read the second book. I've heard that second book was not the favorite of others, but I'm holding off on reading the second book just until more of the books start to come out because I think it was supposed to be a duology, but I think she decided to make a third book. And so, yeah. So I have not read um, Blood Marked yet, but I am looking forward to reading it. I'm kind of just holding off until the third book comes out. And so, yeah. Moving on to our next one, and I believe this is really like the last one on the list, is going to be so another author that I have read this year. And mind you, again, I've only read one book by this author, and this author is highly acclaimed, like everyone knows her, and I see why everyone likes her. I get it, I understand because she is so talented. And so, yes, number 4 on my list is Leigh Bardugo. Okay, yes, I know, Leigh Bardugo. I'm really late to the game. Been sleeping on her this entire time, didn't know anything about her. I mean, I always heard of like Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone, but I just never really got into them. Like, I just never picked them up when I was reading in high school. And so, yeah. But this year, I finally read Six of Crows, and I was like, oh, I understand now. This is really good storytelling. And so, I like Leigh Bardugo's writing and storytelling is because again, it's very effortless. Like she's just an effortless storyteller. And to be more specific, it's just the way that she's able to write 6 characters POVs and fully flesh out the story, um, like the present storyline, while also giving us backstory about their lives, while also just simultaneously being able to tell a story. Like it almost felt like 2 stories at the same time, like the story of the present and the story of the past for these 6 different characters, and us just kind of following up from the past to the present. Like I don't know if that made any sense, but it was just orchestrated very beautifully how she did it, and it was very simplistic. I have never seen anything like that. And I mean, I've read books where, writers have struggled to even fully flesh out one character, let alone 6 characters. Like, and also do amazing job with the world building and explanation of the magic system. Okay, and then also her dialogue is good. Her characters are just funny and amazing and enjoyable. I mean, Kaz, this is an unpopular opinion. He's not my favorite character, but I understand why everyone likes him and just adores him. But yeah, so yeah, definitely looking forward to reading more books by Leigh Bardugo to come in the future. And yeah, so those were the 4 authors that I loved the most in 2024. So just to recap, the first one I said was June author of A Crane Among Wolves, author of A Crane Among Wolves. So if you haven't read that, please go ahead and read it. It's amazing. And then her other book, I believe it's called The Red Palace. The next one I believe I said was Brandon Sanderson. So again, there's like so many books. Just pick one. Just pick one. And then moving on from there, I said Tracy Deonn, Legendborn. So if you haven't read Legendborn, go ahead and give that a read. And then moving on to book number 4, author number 4, we just talked about it, was Leigh Bardugo. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more books from these 4 great authors to come in the next year. And so yeah, that is a wrap for today's video. I will see you guys in the next one, okay? Bye.